Central Western Michigan Broncos.
No.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna have a call to order. This is very informal. We're used to meeting at our people's houses. So this has been new to me at the Fabius Township Hall. And have people, our other neighbors come that aren't board members. So it's very informal. I'm not a formal person. So that's how it is. We're going to do the, was it Robert's Rules of Order? This is how we voted on it. And it starts with a call to order. And then a roll call. So I'm here, John Barnes.
Here.
Mark Sturin. Mark Beidelman.
Here.
Steve Beidelman.
Yep.
Dan Ruggles.
Yep.
Joanne.
Here.
Is it Bouquet?
Bousquet.
Bousquet.
Oh, I wonder that.
Bousquet. Thank you. Tom Kuhn. Oh, Gary Armstrong. Christy Lynn.
Here.
Val Heffernan. Billy Rivard.
Here.
And Teresa Hickey.
Here.
I'm gonna just circle those two. Or you just do
No.
that. Okay. We're gonna do Teresa, secretary's minutes from our last meeting was October 12th.
Yeah, and I emailed the minutes to all the board members, but I can go through and do a synopsis. Did everybody receive those? Are you receiving my emails? You know? Okay, after the meeting, give me your email again and I'll make sure I have the correct one down. But I email them before, or after every meeting, just so everybody can see them. And then usually we just approve at the next meeting, but if we're gonna be open to members, maybe we go back to reading them again?
Yeah.
Okay, so, the members present were, you want me to go through all of that?
I just
Okay.
do like the highlights.
Synopsis.
Yeah.
The treasurer's report, well, she's gonna get to that. We talked about the goose roundup. Gary reported 8 nests and 28 eggs were destroyed last spring. And 71 geese were on the lake this summer, but the actual goose roundup is no longer going to be an option because of the bird flu for Chris at the state. So this year, Gary is, we're still able to get the eggs and the nests, but we're not able to round up the geese. So I think Gary is still looking for volunteers to help get the eggs and the nests. And I don't know when he's doing that. He's not coming today.
I thought he was, and usually March made a comment that if it wasn't gonna be this weekend, I think it's next weekend.
March and I are supposed to be going out on the pond tomorrow.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
tomorrow.
you, thanks, John. I know I called,
I drove by Gary's house and it looked closed up, so.
did it? I got Mark and Galen Adams, they own the property of the marsh. And they just always like to be like a heads up that we're going out on the property, and we did that, but you said that's gonna be tomorrow?
But that's our plan.
Okay.
Marsh and I have talked about it a couple of times.
For those that weren't here, just a real quick recap, sorry, but with Gary's like, hey, with my age and March's age at 86, like, we need younger people to come and help and start, like Gary and March can show them and so that was kind of a push we've said, ask for volunteers and especially have eyes out. Now that our pontoons are all starting to maybe get in, we'll see more where, oh, they didn't get that one, or here's another nest, and it's always great to have eyes. Okay.
Yeah, and if you are on the lake, you see a nest, they said, contact your road rep and let them know where they are. And can I get your name so I can read it?
Excuse me, John Hotovy.
John Hotovy, okay, just so for the notes. Okay, there were some mute swans on the lake last year causing, some problems, so Gary was going to investigate the cost of getting a permit to, do something about those mute swans that were bullying a lot of people last summer.
Christy, wasn't that down by you,
Yeah.
by like Chris Buchan's house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the swim hole too.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
And over by me, the
And
one
at-
was
and at
dive
the
bombing,
Heathly down
my
there.
neighbor Joey, he had a landing net swinging for his life. This male was coming in, I mean, dive bomb down, he was swinging.
Wonder if he'll be around this year.
We were in the
Yeah.
boat, my grandson was in the flood.
You just do it.
So, yeah. But it was just protected with babies.
They're not native anyways.
Yeah.
You need to sit up here, John.
I do.
Yeah, because you're vice president.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, I just realized that. Good morning, Marge.
Better late than never.
Our life advisor's here.
He's gonna give us that. We need another.
I'll just sit.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question on the goose roundup?
We have room. Oh, here, John.
Hey Laurie, with the Robert, can I ask a question on the goose roundup?
Sure.
Do you have to be a member to
No,
do the roundup?
no.
Where do we round up?
You can't round up this year.
March,
What are you talking about, goose?
the goose roundup,
Yeah.
yeah.
There is no gonna be any goose roundup.
Right, we just told them about the eggs and the
I
nests.
have the permit to destroy the nests, which I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Okay.
So far with binoculars, I think there's about 6 nests. That's about it,
Oh. Is that just on Pleasant Lake?
just on the pond.
Oh, okay,
Pleasant Lake, I have one around Lake. I just got my boat in the water today.
I'm just curious is all.
But I've had my binoculars out, I haven't seen any. There's a swan nesting in the lake, but
Okay.
no geese that I can see.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, we bringing our vice president on.
Okay,
Another March.
we talked about having, committees for different things, the only committee that we decided on was the, fishing tournament, or what was it, we're gonna have a contest, I guess, or keep track of the largest
yeah.
fish caught in the
Yes.
lake. Dick Michaels volunteered to weigh and measure any fish, and they'll keep a ledger called the Fish of Pleasant Lake. The contest will be posted on Facebook, and will begin April 1st. So, I guess I need to post that and make sure everybody knows there's a contest, or whatever we wanna call it.
You're gonna have to be careful this year, because last year, the people had, I don't know, 100 and 600 fish. They were all netted, with a net.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
can't
the
do that
fish
anymore. That's-
contest. I'm sorry,
You're gonna
this
have
is
to determine
separate.
if you want the
Yeah.
largest bass, the largest fish, the most bass, the most bluegills, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
You have to come up with something.
Yeah, and I think that's the fish contest in June, and this is just like a lake record. If you caught a big fish, you could go to Dick Michaels and he's gonna have the ledger, okay, the biggest bass is whatever,
So there's two things.
right?
Do I interject what I know, because she's,
Mhm.
okay. So there's two things. So June 14th, Tom Coon's totally in charge of, and it's not kids anymore, it's a fishing contest. So it's adults and kids, there's age limit. There's trophies, and then Chris Buchama's like, hey, I have a bunch of brand new lures that I've never used. I would love to donate those as prizes. I think kids that are fishing would love those, so that's another thing. And then the other thing, and Dick Michaels has volunteered to be the chairperson of, come on in. Morning.
Morning.
And Dick Michaels does have a ledger that Tom bought, and I think you paid, you got it was a scale to weigh the fish, and that's for anybody that is on our lake. Obviously people that aren't our lake aren't gonna know that, but most of us know where Dick lives, and that will be posted. But he has an official ledger, and hey, you've got a big fish and you wanna weigh it and release it, but before you release it, obviously, get it weighed and measured. Dick will take a picture, that picture will go on Facebook of the catch, not gonna say where you caught it, but, what species it was, and Tom got that all arranged, so, and that's at Dick Michael's house. But for the kids I keep saying kids, for the fishing contest, he will also weigh and measure those, and then Jan's volunteered to take pictures, so those will be posted on Facebook. And then Tom wants to announce or have the kids and people come up at the breakfast and get a certificate or something,
I'm
so.
assuming you get to live or have a parent or something to live on the lake, so we don't have outside people coming to the fish contest?
They're supposed to, yes, we would know, because they have to call Tom to he's got a registration form, and it's $5 a boat. So, yeah, then he would be able to know who's on or not, let's see. Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. We talked about meetings, future meetings. All meetings going forward are going to be open to all members of the Pleasant Lake Association, as you know, because you're here today. Everyone will have a chance to speak at the end of the meeting, it looks like we have on the agenda. The new business, Lori is gonna do the flyer for the spring, which I think she has in the back, for all the road reps to take, correct?
Mhm.
So, grab your pack of flyers and before we leave today and distribute to the members. We're discussed doing a 4th of July boat parade with a contest in order to increase participation, and we'll probably advertise that later when it gets closer to 4th of July. And that was about it.
Thank you.
I move to approve the minutes
Second?
as,
I'll second. You okay with that? Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay.
well, you gotta take a vote. Motion, second. Discussion? Okay,
I second it.
okay, now I'll second it, so then you take a vote. Motion, second, and then vote.
Everybody vote to approve those minutes.
Yes.
Alright.
Yes. Aye.
I need a glass of wine.
Okay.
Okay.
You need a motion for me to start?
No,
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but I mean, when you,
yeah, it does,
Thanks,
and then we
the
accept
motion's
this.
on the floor before you move on to the next item. you vote on that
Okay.
one. And then-
Okay, so, in our current checking account, we currently have $9,532 in our checking account. The breakfast generally costs us approximately, here I have it somewhere better. It usually costs us about a little over $2,000, maybe $2,300 for the breakfast. And the donations that we bring in just about evens it out. So we're probably running about the same checking account balance year to year. Last year we did have an increase, which was nice, because we didn't have much outlay last year. But we have to pay for things. We got the lake liability insurance. We have to pay for the rent. The most expensive part of the breakfast is the food and the tents and chairs. Our issue seems to be getting dues collected. We currently run less than 50% on the collection of the dues. So only half of the lake residents pay the dues. And so we're trying to find a way possibly to be able to increase that, get word out. I think that's why we've opened our meetings, to let people know what we do as a board for the lake. So possibly people can feel more involved and be more inclined to pay their dues. I feel personally that dues are a minimal expense at $30, but it would be nice to keep our account, at a good amount in our checking account. We depleted it almost 75% about 3 or 4 years ago when we had the lake survey done. That cost us over $7,500 for a one and done. The survey was done, they say, yes, you got healthy weeds. If you wanna maintain the survey, it's $7,500 a year. So we voted not to continue that. We had a one and done to satisfy those that were curious about, do we have invasive weeds? What do we have? The survey said we don't, we're good. But we still need to have the income coming in anticipation of any future expenses or whatever we might have. The expenses, like I said, for the breakfast are generally the same year to year. The costs are gonna go up. You know, food costs, rental costs, it's minimal at this point, but we never know. So we have to have enough money on hand for any of those expenses that are unforeseen. But other than that, we did discuss, I will bring this up, we did discuss doing Venmo as a form of payment. That's unrealistic for our association because it does require that they have what they call, Venmo has what they call a beneficial owner. The lake association would be the person that gets paid, but that there needs to be a human being, an individual behind the Venmo account for Venmo purposes. It's unrealistic to expect a volunteer to be that beneficial owner. And then if I were to, decide not to be a treasurer any longer, we'd have to start from ground zero, close the Venmo account, open a new Venmo account, provide all the documentation again. And it's very unrealistic. And at first I did some research and I think it'd be very difficult to track who's making those deposits through Venmo. I have enough trouble as it is that people give me a check, if they're an out of area resident, they give me a check, I go, who the heck are you? I don't know who you are. Last year I spent a whole week going, on the Fetch GIS for St. Joe County. I went plat by plat by plat, every property, and created a spreadsheet that said this person lives here, and oh, this is their Indiana address, this is their Florida address, so that they give me a check, I know who they are. If we're doing it Venmo online, if it were even feasible, it would be a nightmare trying to track it. If there's a username, late favorites or I123, whatever the username might be, I won't be able to identify them.
What about the EIN?
Pardon?
The EIN too.
Oh, and the EIN number. If they require an EIN number, which there's been so many handoffs over the last, I don't know how long this lake board's been in effect. We don't have that EIN document. That's what Venmo requires. Our TIN, our identifier number, like our social security. We don't have a copy of our business document that says this number belongs to Pleasant Lake Association. We do not have that, and that's required. So I don't even have documentation to give to the Venmo people. So we're just gonna go back to cash and check.
Okay, I have a question on that then, because we should be filing a tax return if we're taking money. Then we need a
Historically,
TIN
there
for,
is none, I don't know who's done, I know what you're saying. I don't know if there's a threshold that requires us to. We only net about $2,500 a year.
but
I know we have the income expenses, I understand that.
yeah, I think if we're taking in money, we have to file
How
a
do we
tax
file tax
return.
return?
We need a TIN.
Yeah, we need a TIN.
So whatever TIN we've been using, either that or we're gonna have to get a different one
We can
and
try filing.
reform.
Are you willing? I don't have any tax experience. Do you do taxes? Or do we hire
The
an
tax
accountant?
lady.
No, do we hire an accountant? I mean, maybe we put it out there that there's somebody in our lake residence that can file it for us. I don't know if opening a whole can of worms then and say Michigan's gonna audit us, IRS is gonna audit us. Why haven't you been filing for the last 20 years?
Well, we should have been
I know,
filing for the last 20 years.
Not doing isn't the right, you know what I'm saying?
No, not to continue to make the same
Right.
mistake. I mean, going forward, we should form correctly, because
Yeah.
that's the other thing, we're not formed correctly from the research that I did. So we don't even have the name Pleasant Lake Association, where, like Corey Lake has Corey Lake Associations. They're formed as a nonprofit, which we should be formed as a nonprofit, and we should be filing a tax return as a nonprofit.
Here's. Let me get that. Some of the stuff I have in the file that was given to me is, all handwritten, some are on back of file folders, some are, this
It
all
was a
very
mess,
Mm-hmm.
what was
informal.
handed to her, Christie.
The bank account should have an EIN number.
We went.
That's what we've been using, but.
They have the
They
number,
don't
but
know.
not the official document.
You should be able to pull that online, I think.
The bank doesn't have a copy, there's no, Teresa tried to research it
You can find
online.
anything online for the state,
Mm-mm.
as long as you have the number, that's all that matters. I mean, really. If you
Well, it
file
could
under-
technically be attached to a person from 30 or 40 years ago. That could
Depends
be-
on what it starts with, like a 3-8 number. Maybe, yeah, if it's like 3-8
It's-
dash.
it's-
that's
What's
not
the
first.
TIN number
It
start
appears to be an EIN.
Yeah,
I see no reason to get a new
no,
EIN.
I would,
If the organization has a tax identification number, that's what it is.
right.
Venmo may wanna see the actual
That's what they wanted to
certificate,
see.
that's a Venmo problem,
Yeah.
not a tax identification number problem.
Right.
Right,
That's just a reason to say to Venmo, sorry, we can't do it.
right, that's what I did.
But that doesn't have anything to do with whether the organization has a valid tax ID.
But the problem is, we don't know what the tax ID number, what name goes with that, because the name Pleasant Lake Association is not registered to us.
There are plenty of groups that are nonprofits that are not organized as a corporation that don't organize as a nonprofit corporation.
Well, they still have to be registered with the state as a nonprofit.
The, like an official name, you're saying?
Mhm.
Like,
But they are, because there's the EIN number.
I would think it'd be on that
Yeah.
paperwork, wouldn't it? It would
Yeah,
say,
it's gotta be.
Mark, what do you
yeah.
have? Did you
No,
have something?
No, I'm just.
Oh, I thought you went with that,
Sorry.
sorry. If the bank, and then we bank through Horizon,
Yeah,
wouldn't they be able to look that up and say this is the name on there?
Yes,
they just have what
They
we
would?
gave them.
yeah.
You would think so.
Somebody originally who opened that account had to have something in their
You would
possession, they
think.
probably have a copy of it somewhere.
When I talked to the bank, when Lori and I went to add me to the account, she didn't have anything, she asked us to bring her something, I don't have anything I can bring you. And so when I called her, Teresa asked the same thing a few weeks ago, ask the bank should have something from when the account was set up. The account wasn't set up, Horizon was what, Southern Michigan, whatever the bank, not
Oh,
Southern
yeah.
Michigan, it was another bank name that it took over from.
I wonder if, I'm pretty sure that Jack Seiler and Danny Kaiser started this,
Oh, look, I'm wrong.
and it seemed maybe Jack would still know. I mean, he was our treasurer for years, at least.
We have a number, like.
We have the
John said,
number,
we don't
what
need a
Teresa's
new
saying, we
number,
need it
just
done.
We just need the paperwork,
Right,
which we should be able to get somewhere,
yeah.
because
Check
the
with
state
Jack.
had to issue it, so
Um,
the state's gotta have it somewhere.
But that's one thing, and then the second thing is Teresa, being a tax person, you're saying we need to file.
Yeah, we need to file a tax return if we're taking money in. It's a one-page thing, it's not a big deal,
But
but.
the tax return, if I recall, it asks, isn't there a box on there that asks what you are, if you're a corporation, if you're this, yeah, that's what, it asks that right on the tax return,
And we don't know.
we don't know who we are.
Because it would be on the ENI, or ENI.
It would be on the
certificate.
formation paperwork,
Yeah.
which we don't have.
We'll work
So-
on that.
I did ask Dave Hassey about it, cause Dave had the, box, and he said it was in there. Okay, so, I think what we're gonna have to do is table that until we can get some more information.
We really do need to start structuring it correctly.
I agree.
Can't say- It always has been, so it will stay, we have to, get this done correctly.
Let's see if he's got that.
You're gonna get a hold of Jack?
Yeah. You would
Dave?
know, would ya, John? Would you know when the association started? Because you've been here a long time too. Ronnie? And you, Mark? Do
Jack
you
and
know when the
Dan.
association? Don't you think it was them? I do.
Jack
You're
and
going
Danny
good.
that started it.
That's what I was
Back in the
thinking.
seventies,
Yeah.
probably.
That's
Yeah, it
what I
in
was
the
thinking.
70s.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, start there. I just don't want us to be using this TIN as somebody's social security number.
Well, and I
You
was
know,
trying to
and
say,
if
I
that's
mean,
how they start, they open a bank account, well, use my social security number, well,
Well,
now
the
that's
way
what
it looks
we've
on the
been doing.
document, because of the anything, because EIN and our social
Keep me
security
on.
all have the same amount of characters.
Right,
So it doesn't matter where those hyphens are.
right,
The
exactly.
hyphen on our bank account is 2 digits hyphen,
Right.
whatever it is, that doesn't mean,
Doesn't
doesn't
make
mean,
it,
doesn't
right.
make a difference.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't, yeah, that's how we'll
Back
work
in the
that
day,
way.
it did, yeah, it's an EIN number, I'm almost in again.
Yeah.
Well, they're all 9 digits is what we're saying.
Right, but if it's 38 dash, the way we would put it into the system.
Right.
I worked there 33 years.
Right,
38 dash is gonna be,
Well, it could be.
but at one
this one,
time,
this
one
one.
time it could have been 383, blah, 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 and then
Right.
they just gave them the 9 digits and they didn't give them a dash, so.
right, no, I get that, but, I mean, just
It's
to open
definitely
the
some-
account,
Something we need to find out.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll look into it too,
Okay.
see what I can find.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second, when's the second?
Second?
Vote on that, pass it.
Aye.
Before we get started, let's, I'd like to know the names of people that aren't on the board that are here real quick, so.
Craig Earhart.
Hi Craig, now I remember you.
Todd Eifley.
Hi Todd.
Rod Neal.
Hi Ronnie.
John Hottaway.
We got Tom,
Jim Highfield.
Jim Highfield, and that's it, the rest are board members. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, report on new business, Gary's not here, Goose Roundup, as we were gonna talk about, but March has filled us in. Next is t-shirts, I went to Action Gear, Chris Bukema did the artwork on it, on the t-shirts. They are $13 a piece, is what he's charging, which is tax. Now there's an upcharge on, if anybody of you know about t-shirts, but 2, 3, and 4X large is usually more money, like $2 up. So what he said, or I said, we would just do $20 each, whether it's for a kid's t-shirt to make it simple or an adult, and be able to go that way, so. That's it. Billy is the chairman of that, so he's making, or has the people gonna call him and contact him. Billy's also gonna be at the picnic, your dad's gonna help you, right? Selling them, so. And then Joe's gonna get you a cash box and with 200 in cash to start out to make change. Cause believe me, you'll get 50s and 100s and yeah, so she's got that all in charge. And thank you for doing that. Appreciate you stepping up on that. Little side note, Chris is just about done with the website. The information was given to him February 1st. Unfortunately, he's not unfortunate that he's a volunteer, but he does volunteer his time to do this for us and has just been slammed at his own work. So it's been a long time. Finally, he's getting it caught up, and I appreciate that. And then he's gonna have a tab for the t-shirts, so they'll see that on the website. So look at that.
So if people wanna buy a t-shirt, they contact you or buy it at the lake breakfast?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Contact you via Facebook or
Yeah, that works too, then you put out my phone number, I had somebody
Phone
text me
number?
already, so.
Okay. Okay.
I think on Facebook I said, here's his text number, your text
Yeah.
number.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was one of the legit t-shirt.
Oh,
people.
right.
You see all those
There's been so
Oh,
many.
yeah.
t-shirt that, the scammers?
But as soon as you put yours out, I looked and
Yeah,
saw that
yeah.
other one, yeah.
Teresa's saying.
Yeah, cause I almost deleted hers. I just
Yeah.
saw a t-shirt delete.
Right.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's actually legit. The one t-shirt sale. No, that should be taken care of now. I made some extra rules and things so they can't just.
Oh, good. Good.
We'll see.
Next, fishing contest. Tom, would you like to fill us in?
Sure, I'll try. When is our annual meeting?
June 7th.
I'll explain it then too, but, we're kind of changing things up a little bit this year. We're gonna have, on the Father's Day weekend, June 14th, a little fishing tournament, which, By the way, are we supposed to register this with the state or something? Somebody said if you're having a fishing tournament, you gotta register it. Well, I'm not doing it.
No, don't even
I'm
go
just-
there.
This is just
Don't
a
call
fun
it
event,
DNR or
you know, it's
nothing.
nothing serious.
It's,
It's just
no.
open to our lake.
But any-
Just us.
Any fish, really, is gonna be acceptable, but we're changing it up. It's not how many fish you catch, but the largest. And there'll be two categories, 12 and under, and 13 and over, which includes adults. Kinda encouraging, if you're gonna have a pontoon or a fishing boat, that you kinda give it a name of your group, you know, bigfishers.com, I don't know, whatever you wanna call it. But that would be a little bit fun, but I'm thinking that this is gonna, be a better one in that we're not gonna have buckets of fish brought and counted and all that. So if you catch 10 fish, take the biggest one over to our little raft, which I think we'll have it out in front of, let's see, Michael's or, who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Anyway, out in the sort of the center of the lake, rather, way down at one end or way down at the other. And I'll have a balloon or something. Yeah.
Are you gonna, on the tournament here, are you gonna specify the species of each fish, like a northern pike? a
Well, when
crappie,
they
a
bring it
bluegill?
in, yeah, hopefully.
Right, but,
Don't know.
I mean, ahead of time in the rules.
Originally, I talked to, Mark, I guess, about how many different species we have in the lake, and predominantly, it was,
I mean, we could narrow it down to make it pretty simple.
well, we could, or let's
And I
say
think it
somebody
would be
catches
appropriate to do that.
let's say somebody catches a trout, there's supposed to be no trout, but there
There
might be.
isn't.
There might be, but
No,
no,
there's
I
no-
think I listed it as crappies, bluegills, perch,
Bass and
Bass
northern pike.
and I don't care if they're large or smallmouth,
There's no smallmouth in the lake, but there's pike, that would be
Pike would
perfect.
even be included.
Right,
I
that's
think
all
there
we
was
need is
5,
a name, you know, so we don't bring a mud plunker in or a sucker, I mean, it's like,
Well, something that's,
right.
you know,
Then that way you can target these, cause you're gonna have an adult in the boat also, right?
well, I hope.
Well, I wouldn't mind
Unless you got a
partaking in that with a
teenager,
young
that's-
person, yeah, okay.
Just remember one thing, you're gonna kill these when you catch them.
Well, I'm not,
No, I mean, but most people, when you catch a little bluegill or you catch a little crappie, you're gonna kill him.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted not to bring in buckets or sacks full of fish, cause they're all gonna die, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So just narrow it down to your biggest one, and hell, if you
I
catch a
can't
little one,
imagine.
who knows, maybe that's the biggest one that day.
how many people you think we're really gonna have in this 10? I mean, I don't think we're really gonna take a whole lot of fish,
No.
honestly.
no,
I mean, what is it, a 4-hour tournament?
Yeah, let's see, it's from,
It's 8 to 11.
9 to 11 or 8 to 11?
8, it's
8
8
to
8
11.
to 3 hours?
Mhm.
You're not
And,
gonna get much in 3 hours.
and after 11, I mean, the fishing stops. That doesn't mean you have to be at our boat by 11. Stop your fishing, come over to our station, that float or pontoon. We'll be measuring in, and if there's a tie, the tie will be the weight, whoever, which, let's say 2 of them are 13
That's simple
inches.
enough.
Whoever has the biggest weight. And then we'll recognize the winners at the annual picnic with a little gift and recognition, maybe a photograph, maybe it go on the website, who knows. The other point I wanted to make, which is not part of the fishing tournament, is that, anytime you catch a fish in the lake that you think is significant, without just bragging about something that you caught, bring it to Dick Michaels, kinda give him a phone call, maybe we ought to put that number out there, give him a heads up, and he will record these fish in a book as you are the angler who caught the biggest pike, or the biggest bluegill, or perch, or whatever, to kinda create a little more, I hope, enthusiasm for fishing, and recognizing people that enjoy fishing on the lake. Cause there's all kinds of people, we all like to do wakeboards, or jet skis and some are fishermen. We all have to get along, but you know, it was founded basically years ago on a fishing lake, and let's bring that back a little bit. So from year to year, just if you catch a big one and you think, hey, just take it to Dick Michael's house. He's got a scale, and he's a weight scale and a measuring scale, and he will certify it. And if yours is in the record, well, you get your name in the book and probably also recognized annually. But yeah, let's bring back some more fishing. Anybody have any questions? I don't have any of the rules with me, but I will pass them out. I mean, the rules are gonna be simple. Don't fish before 8 o'clock and stop at 11 o'clock. Don't be bringing a fish in you caught the day before.
You're still gonna charge $5 a boat, right?
I think that was what it was agreed to.
Okay, and then the other thing is they're pre-registering through you, so
Yeah.
you'll know
Yeah,
who's
$5.
on that boat and.
Yeah,
and
I would
their
like,
names.
if you're, I don't know how you're gonna get that
Do you
out,
still
but
have
I like
that?
for having a pre-register, that helps.
Yeah, but I did send you a form, did you get that? I have it in Word
Yeah,
document.
yeah.
Yeah, to use, when people start calling you, you're gonna need to fill that form out.
Yep, I've got it.
Okay, so when they arrive on the 14th that morning, you have somebody with you that's looking at that form, they hand you the $5, whatever,
Right.
and
Right.
confirm they're there, yeah.
Yeah,
If they have a name.
kinda looking for volunteers too.
I got a
John?
question, Tom. On the rules and the overall general structure of it, I assume that this is just gonna be for Pleasant Lake people?
Pleasant
This is
Lake
not gonna be
people
outside
only,
boats
right.
coming in?
Somebody drops a boat into
So,
fishing, then we're not gonna be recognized.
You wanna make it to Pleasant Lake Association members and increase membership of the association?
I don't wanna do that. I mean, I want it to be anybody on the lake, personally. If the board agrees it's just gonna be association members, I'm okay with that, but I would oppose it.
The last 2 years, Myra and Christie did it. Looking at the list and checking membership, there was only, one boat that wasn't a member. They're on the lake, but they weren't a association member. I'm not gonna say, that's on them, you know.
And I think
I
it should be
agree,
like
like
open
it
to
should
your
go to, go ahead, Steve.
in-laws and grandkids too. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not living on the lake, but.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of the drivers by joining the membership was that you could participate in the events that we had.
You know, this all started with the breakfast.
Right.
Right? So we were like, hey, it's people that were coming to the breakfast weren't members, and we're not there to police them. So then how do you police the other things? Yeah, it would be great if, I mean, in the bylaws, that was kinda tricky. Remember when we were going through that, was you want people to join, but you're not gonna push somebody to join. You would think they would want to, but I don't know.
Do we need to vote on something like that?
I think it should be open to,
Everybody agree it should be open, or do we have to be members of the association?
You don't get a lot of people, just leave it open.
Leave it-
Fishing, yeah.
leave it
yeah,
open.
how many votes, Christie, would you say in the last 2 years, the average of each year is what?
5 maybe.
Five.
That's all?
Leave it open, yeah, there's
No,
not,
Leave it open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposed to
Pretty
be
simple.
funny, man.
yeah.
Let's don't get it too cloudy.
I mean, we're charging $5 a boat to help cover the trophies on Amazon, you know, there's like the little trophies. So that kinda helps cover the cost of that,
Yeah.
but.
We wanna make it
Mr.
fun.
Hodby,
Just a quick question, are you calling it the Lake Association Fishing Tournament?
no, just,
Just
fishing.
just Pleasant Lake Fishing Tournament?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not saying
If you
pleasant.
if you keep the association part out of it, that probably lends people to think that it's open lake wide rather than not you're a member or not, so that would be my
Grandpa, I wanna go fishing, sorry, I haven't paid my dues, you can't go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Well, if anybody has any questions, and think of them later, give me a call.
Thanks, Tom, thanks for, organizing that, just Christie and Myra, or Myra couldn't do it this year.
Yeah.
That's nice. Breakfast. Okay. Oh, we need to make a motion on that, sorry. Somebody, Val, second?
Okay.
What's the motion?
What's the motion?
What's the motion?
Oh, sorry. Not, see, I'm so confused, and
I
I'm
mean,
just like,
why,
so weird.
why do we need to, are we voting
No.
just to approve the fact that we're having a fishing
I
contest?
think we already did that.
Yeah,
I don't know that we really.
sorry, it's me, I'm not used to this.
We don't
format.
really need to move or vote on anything.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, cause I don't think anything's
I'm
changed.
all nervous,
That
cause
was just
Todd's
like a
taping this on the
status report.
thing, it's making me nervous, I'm like, what are you gonna do with that, anyway?
It's just for me and to help with the minutes.
Oh, okay, oh, cause you're taking minutes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's not being live streamed.
Yeah, AI do minutes for me and see how.
Yeah,
that
yeah, I was
goes.
gonna have clowns dancing around, yeah.
Be painful to watch.
So Fourth of July breakfast, which is actually gonna be on Saturday the 5th. Val Heffernan is in charge of the volunteers, she's our Spence West rep. Val, would you like to update them on what you've done this week with sending out?
What I've done is, tried to send out a letter introducing myself and explaining about the breakfast to all the people on West Fence. I may have missed a few people, some of their emails came back still. I think there's 5 of them that did not go through, and I've checked and checked, and, so anyway, I'm gonna work on that next week, trying those 5 other people. And so far, I have Lynn Seiler that has stepped up to volunteer, and there's a whole list on the email of positions that we need, several positions, we need 3 people, 4 people, and it runs from, 7:30 in the morning till, then cleanup is after 11. So what anybody and everybody, whoever can volunteer, so we're getting that started. And, I think I would like to post it on Facebook as well, maybe to reach out to anybody. Some of the people just like to volunteer every year anyway,
Right.
whether they live on West Fence or whatever, whoever's hosting that year. So I'm getting started.
Good.
So,
Yeah, the emails, I'll have to.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll work on that Monday, I think, try to finish it. But I did reach out to, all of the other ones that I saw went through. And like I said, Lynn, already responded.
John, did yours go through? John?
I haven't seen anything, to be honest with you, I'm just looking. When did you send it?
I probably sent it Wednesday or Thursday, maybe?
Ronnie, did you or Teresa get one?
She might have, I have.
Yeah, I
Because
did.
sometimes in a household, we only have one or the other.
Yeah,
He goes to either one of our businesses.
because it was the same email, wasn't it, Ron? Same email for both of you?
No, it's just the store.
Let me- What did,
It's only 2 we use.
what was the heading of the email, so I can search it?
I have no idea.
I have no
I'm
idea.
very technologically.
Try this pleasant, this
Lord
type in
help me,
pleasant.
I don't
We're gonna
have
have
a
to look
computer,
for
I
that.
did it all on my iPad, so I'm very limited, but I did my best. So if I missed anyone or did it wrong, I will
You know
try my
what,
best
Val?
to redo it.
I think what would be helpful too is when you're handing out the spring flyers for your road, include that sheet.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because, yeah.
The document of the
Yes.
volunteers?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I gotta get copies of that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
She told me that's all I ever had to do. Say lie.
For those of you that don't know, that are in your why Spence, so you are only gonna, your section of whatever road you're on is only gonna host, I think there's 8, so once every 8 years. So, and it's nice that it does travel, because then the same workers aren't the ones working every year and not getting to enjoy it. So next year would be Avery and Jenny. And then, so it's going, what is that, counterclockwise? Yeah, or clockwise, yeah, I guess it would be clockwise, so. Thank you, Val,
Yeah.
we'll get you copies of that spring, or the,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so, Mark Stern has been the main lead cook for years and years and years and years. John is now going to be, March is mentoring him. March has all the, totes, there's totes and totes and totes of, breakfast items, between cookers and propane tanks and extension cords and paper towels and all of that. John, we had mentioned to see if you would be able to store those or not, the totes.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm kind of, I'm
It's an
just,
inside joke.
I've been in the barn, it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
If you don't have room in that thing.
well, once I put the lumber in there, I don't,
right.
most of the shelving I have is gonna be full of lumber.
March is, why I bring that up is March is looking for a place to store it. Did you see?
Yeah, I have a barn, but it's full of kids' boats,
Yeah.
you know, that's what it is. Your dad's got room.
Yeah.
Kids.
But anyway,
Lawnmowers and-
yeah, March is gonna be mentoring John, they have cooks, so Val won't be looking for volunteers that way, but, I wanna thank John for stepping up for that. Joanne has ordered all the rental items, everything, the porta potty's been reserved. It's at Tom and Susie Kuhn's house again, that's the location. Next, Krista and Myra are in charge of the raffle, thank you.
Oh, that brings up,
Yep.
we need items for the raffle.
Yes, Krista and Myra have a sheet of their responsibilities, I gave you a copy
Yeah.
of that thing, so, yep, they're all
Okay.
set with, yep. And,
You know, when the people, road reps hand out the flyers to people,
Mhm.
you might wanna have on that you need donations for the raffle. Because that's gonna get some good coverage when you hand out that sheet to everybody.
yeah. To minimum, I did have that on here, that's why I was just looking, but then I had to make place for,
Uh-huh.
so I took it off. Let's see, Tom, you did check with Satyrs that we can use their
Yeah.
lot across the street to
Yeah.
park? Okay, and just, I guess it's kinda in a nice way, say, hey, make sure that's mowed, or, you know, like, I mean, seriously.
It's always trimmed very nice.
So, were you able to secure a golf cart? Last year I saw people hobbling
I had a
up
couple
to,
people
remember
said
the
they had
people
them.
were like, some older people, I was like, we need a golf
I
cart.
got a golf cart that you can have.
Well, okay, Mark's got.
Is it, could you get it
Whoever-
over there?
The ones that said they had one don't
When?
live
You
on
mean
our
for the
road,
breakfast?
so I don't know how they get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Cause I would love like, that we have breeders, I'd like, you know, you see someone hobbling or, hey, I have a cane,
Yeah.
we need somebody to get them down.
Sure.
I've got a golf cart,
To-
anybody can drive it out here.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
If you could get them to the,
Can you bring them over by trailer or?
Friday night or Saturday morning,
Yours would have to come
that
by
would be
trailer.
great.
Yeah. And your skis that are slow loader.
You've got two.
Oh, that's good, okay.
That's
Um,
There we go.
Okay, next, June 7th is the association meeting here. So,
There's one in May though.
yes,
Yeah.
yep. That's but the 7th is the big one where we go over the year, the fiscal year. Spring flyers, road reps are to give them to their neighbors, you've pictures up. We're down to any other news, any new news. Hang on a second. We would open that up to him right there.
Yep.
We're coming to you, new news,
Excuse
new
me.
news for the board.
New business for the board right now.
Just
Yeah.
one quick.
Public
Yeah.
comments
When's
on
the
that.
next Lake Association meeting?
May 10th, 9 o'clock.
May 10th.
Are we gonna go
Thank
with
you.
9 o'clock, cause of the last
Yes.
minute? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be flat.
Meetings from now on are at 9 o'clock.
Cause
It's gonna be here?
pardon?
Yes.
Are they gonna be here?
Yes, yep.
Thanks.
When I gave the list to Carol Wilkins to put on, it's on the Fabius Township, their calendar. So if you ever, you know, just click the calendar on their website, and you'll see us too. Okay, number 6, report on old business, lake clarity. Tom has, years ago, we used to do the clarity of the lake, and there's a sucky disc and all that stuff. Tom has volunteered to start doing that again. My question was, Tom, do you have like a notebook, a ledger that you are gonna
Yeah.
start that, and then you will specify the date and the footage?
Well, as
and-
I understand it from the last meeting, without an exception, I think everybody said that was a waste of time, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
But you're gonna do it anyway, so
So if you
I'm
want
glad
to
you're
know
gonna
or
do it.
something, I can do it.
So I think that's something that you can, read off to us at the end of the year after you've done it through the summer.
Okay.
Venmo was updated by Joanne. Any board members have any old business that they wanna discuss from our other meetings? Okay, now, the meeting is open to Pleasant Lake Association, members that are present at our meeting. 5 minutes. Ding. Todd.
Okay, for those that don't know, the DNR has changed their stance on when they're gonna enforce the no towing. Used to be, they were gonna enforce 11 to 7:30, which it's written 10 to 6:30, but there's a daylight savings time law that shifts that 1 hour. Unfortunately, that does not apply to our lake because of the unique wording of us being a no-tow lake exclusively. So, per Robert's rules and our bylaws, I would like to move to have the Pleasant Lake Association send a resolution within the next 5 business days to the Fabius Township Board requesting that they submit a resolution to the state of Michigan to amend R281.775 hours for water skiing on Long and Pleasant Lake in Fabius Township. And I want them to remove any reference to Pleasant Lake within the next 90 days. That's my motion. Second it?
I'll second it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Now it's open for discussion.
Read it exactly.
No, wait.
what we're
No,
voting
there's no wait a minute. A motion's been made, it's been seconded, we discuss.
I
That's
don't
Robert's
even
rules,
know
that's your bylaws.
What the motion
We
was.
can have
I
discussion.
just read the motion. Do you need to hear it again?
I'd like to see it in
Before it's
writing.
voted on, we have.
You
a lot-
can see it in writing
You're
after we
asking
talk about it
the
and vote about it.
Lake Association to take a
Ma'am,
position
ma'am,
on
you're
something.
the president. You're in charge of this meeting, right? I made a
Discussion.
motion, it's been seconded, it is up to you.
There's now discussion.
There's no discussion.
Correct.
Todd, although I feel like you just like, and then he seconded it like this was all planned. And
Exactly.
And now it's like, we're like.
I don't even know what I'm voting on.
You're voting on, I'll read it again if you like.
Yeah, read it.
Yeah, well,
I move to
I'd
have
like to see
Pleasant
it
Lake
in writing.
Association send a resolution within 5 business days, okay, to the Fabius Township Board requesting that they submit a resolution to the state of Michigan amending R281.775, which is our no towing law, okay, to amend it to say, to remove any reference to Pleasant Lake. The reason that is because the law is written for Long and Pleasant Lake. I can't control Long Lake. What I'm here to do is make a motion to remove Pleasant Lake from that law, so we are no longer a no towing law.
what is it that you want to amend?
He wants to,
Let's get rid of the ski
he
hours.
wants to get rid of the ski out.
But he's
No.
mentioning, he mentioned a reference to a code section. What is it?
R281.775 hours for water skiing on Long and
And
Pleasant
what
Lake.
is that regulation? Who promulgated the regulation in the
It's a
first
DNR
place?
law, John.
Okay, so you're asking to change the DNR law.
Correct.
So I'm just asking a question, to
Wasn't
remove
it
it
just-
totally, or just change change like different hours, like 10 to 6?
No, take Pleasant
Take
Lake
it
off.
totally off, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, why is that? I'm free and willing to give you my input on why that is, why I'm asking for that, if you'd like to hear. If you got questions, I'm willing to talk about it. I think an open discussion is good.
Well,
I think you have to have an
Fabius Township
82%
Board.
approval before you can even change.
No. No, I've looked the law up and basically they have a process. What we're doing as Pleasant Lake Association is asking the township to send forth a resolution to say, hey, we want this amended. So what happens is the
Okay,
state
well-
of Michigan, the state of Michigan, then at that point holds a public meeting where everybody in the state basically can talk and say, hey, this is why we want it, this is why we don't want it, whatever it is. And then they go through their process to say, is it enacted, amended, or rescinded? That's the process that it goes through. So we're not changing it here at Pleasant Lake Association. All we're doing is pushing it forward to the township board to say, look at it. Is this a law that really needs to be here?
okay, well, Joanne, I think, mentioned that the biggest expenditure the Lake Association's had in decades was a couple years back when this issue came forward. the Pleasant Lake Association went to the expense and trouble of having a survey done, which was very thorough. And it cost $7,500. And that survey asked people on the lake, do you want to change the no towing rules and regs or not?
No,
And if-
that was not the
survey.
survey. That was the lake clarity.
But the
That
was the lake
7,500
clarity.
was,
Oh, the-
that was.
sorry.
That's
We
the-
had a
that's totally
survey
different,
done
yeah.
regarding,
Yes.
do you folks here at Pleasant Lake want to change the rules regarding towing? And it was an overwhelming no. In
That
fact,
was
if I
correct,
remember
yes.
right, March, what was it, 90%?
Yeah.
90% no. So I don't think that this association's in a position to just peremptorily demand that the township ask the DNR to change something for the membership. And the lake association and the lake residents have overwhelmingly said, no, we don't want it. So
Agreed.
I have
That's-
a response to that. This survey that you're talking about was due to a motion from me, and it was not followed. I even received emails from somebody on the board that said, we're gonna get you involved and make sure it's worded the exact same way that you wanted it. And it was not. It was confusing. I got 10 phone calls, and that was from the people I know, that said, Todd, am I voting yes or no for this? I had no idea the way it was worded. So that survey was ridiculous. quite
well, it
honestly.
wasn't ridiculous.
It was
asked
ridiculous.
the question.
Moving on from the survey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the law.
That survey isn't what we're moving on from. That survey was precisely the question.
That survey
And
has nothing to
if the
do with
people-
what's being talked about.
It
here
has
right now.
everything to do
No, it
with what
doesn't.
we're talking about.
Because
The
it was not
people on the
worded correctly.
lake
About half of the people that
opposed.
voted for that weren't even members of the association.
Understood, but
Understood.
did they know what they were voting for? They did not. And that's based on my experience in talking with the people, so.
I knew what I was voting for.
I
You
knew,
do.
everybody I knew what they were voting for.
Yes, because it was worded in such a way where you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's just keep it,
So
kind of thing.
would it make a difference if you're a Michigan person or out of state when you voted?
What do you mean?
Well, your residents.
You're putting us up to the whole state, so anyone can have input, even
What are you
people
talking
that
about?
don't
Voting
live
for
here.
what?
Well, whatever.
What you're trying to propose
Yeah,
here.
those
My
votes.
proposal's for the Lake Association. The Lake Association to send a resolution to
Yeah, but
Fabius.
then you're telling us that it goes from Fabius to the state
Correct.
for open comment from anybody in the state
Correct.
regarding our lake where we live.
Correct.
I don't wanna know.
No way.
That's how you would enact the law today. If you want, if you're
Well,
on
we don't
Cory Lake,
want a different law.
if you're on Cory Lake and you say, I wanna know lake law, that's exactly how it goes. Everybody in the state gets to comment, because it's DNR, it's a state-owned lake, they have a public access. They get to have a voice in it. That's just the way it is. I don't make those rules, that's just what they are.
Todd, did you and Teresa know the rules of the skiing laws when you decided to purchase?
I did.
And you were okay with that because you purchased the
I
land?
wasn't okay with it, but what I'm not okay with now is,
But now you were like, hey, but now I want my way and I'm gonna change it to what I want.
why am I
But you're
changing
in
the
the
whole?
majority.
Why am I changing it? Because
No,
it's
not
now
the
6:30. Somebody can call, if I'm skiing at 6:35, right now, somebody can call the sheriff and I will be written a citation. What are we gonna do about that as an association?
I'm not certain that the sheriff's department's gonna be doing anything different than what
I am
they've been
certain,
doing.
because I have an email from the Law Enforcement Division at DNR, that is what they're gonna enforce. They're gonna enforce 10 to
The
6:30.
DNR isn't
DNR
here.
doesn't-
The sheriff's
The
department
sheriff's
is here.
department, the
The thing
DNR
is-
The
doesn't.
DNR makes the law, the sheriff's department enforces the law.
Right, right.
That's the way it works. I know
The
this
thing-
is an emotional thing, and I get it, okay? But the law makes no sense. It really does not. It's not stopping weight. It's not stopping what you're thinking it's stopping. All it's doing is creating chaos, basically. People are-
Confusion. I
What's
think-
that?
I think it's creating confusion.
Why?
Because the Fabius Township ordinance says one thing, right? The DNR law says another thing. So last year, everybody just goes with the assumption that they have to stop at 7:30 skiing.
They
Well,
do.
somebody on the lake last year got a ticket or got pulled over at 6:30 or 6:15,
It was just after 6:30.
just after 6:30, because the sheriff said the DNR law says you have to be done at 6:30. So the DNR law says one thing, and the sheriffs are following the DNR law, but the Fabius Township ordinance says it's 7:30. So there's a discrepancy between the two.
Daylight savings time
Right,
of an hour.
right,
You're
which
right.
is where the problem is, but now the township says they're gonna enforce 7:30.
Okay.
What is it, 11 to 7:30?
You don't,
But then the state is gonna enforce 10 to 6:30.
you don't fix it by having the state DNR remove Pleasant Lake from a law that provides for no wake here.
It doesn't provide
You
for no
fix a discrepancy, you don't just
It's
delete
no
Pleasant
towing.
Lake from
No
no
towing.
wake.
No towing is the issue.
Or
Doesn't
no
provide
towing.
for no wake.
towing.
Clearly,
No
there's
towing.
no wake after 6:30.
Sorry, no
Clearly.
towing.
That's okay.
So
Yeah.
you don't fix the problem by having the DNR remove Pleasant Lake from a regulation that provides for no towing.
So the
You
DNR
fix the discrepancy in the time, not just simply
Yes.
remove Pleasant Lake altogether. That's what you're wanting to do, I presume,
I know.
is just get Pleasant Lake out of it, so there is no restriction on the no towing.
Because what is
Because
this
that's
law
what you
doing for
wanted
us?
2
What's
years
this law
ago.
doing for us?
I happen to like it settled down after
I like it, why?
7:30.
Why?
Cause I'm not out getting rocked on my pontoon
And
and
especially
stuff
by the
like
way
that,
they're
having a
both
nice
so in the
beer
middle.
and a cruise on the
Kayaks,
boat.
swimming,
Same thing in the morning,
fishing.
and fishing in the morning.
Awesome point. Why can't you do that during the time that we have the wake? Because it's too rough, correct?
We're
Yeah,
working.
Okay.
it's just not very pleasant, to be
I
honest with you. I've
understand
been
that.
on this lake for 30 years, 35 years.
And I respect that.
And here's another way to solve this. Run the questionnaire again and see what the votes are around this lake to have this change.
I wanna talk to your point where you said it's too rough to do it between 10 or 11 and 7:30. It's too rough to do it, right? I'm a barefooter. I'm a slalom skier. Where's my time? Why do you get your time? I don't get my time to do what I enjoy because it's too rough during that time.
But you bought into this when you bought it.
Also, I know, understand that. I'm
No,
just saying,
I'm
I'm
just
going
saying.
with my
So
point,
go to
finishing my point
Corey,
here.
go to,
You have your time, I don't have my
Have
time.
you ran much
You
on?
can do your kayaking, your paddleboarding and all that stuff during my time as a tower, but I can't do it during your time. And if you look at, can we agree that June, July, and August are the crazy months, right? If you look at sunrise to sunset time, Michigan state law says you can't tow from 1 hour after sunset to 1 hour before sunrise. If you take that data for the sunrise and the sunset, the no towers actually get on average close to 2 hours per day more than I do as a tower. That's not fair. Okay? I only have 7.5 hours per day
Sure
now
it is.
because I'm 11 to 7:30 or 11 to 6:30 without getting a violation. And the no tours now have on average 2 hours more than I do per day. Not fair. You
you're
just talked
trying to
about being fair.
change the character of Pleasant Lake. Pleasant Lake has always been pleasant because it's been a quiet lake. When I came here, it was a quiet lake, and it was a good fishing lake, the best fishing lake around, because it was quiet. Now, you've got people with boats on the lake that weren't here before, and big boats, and more boats. And that would change the nature of the use of the lake. But you still have a majority of the people here that want the lake to stay relatively quiet and pleasant. That's not gonna change. And what you're wanting to do is change the nature of the lake because you say that's my time or my lake. Well, it's not just your lake.
I never said it was my lake. You're putting words in
That's
my
the
mouth.
implication.
Negative.
That's
I'll
the
play it back for you
implication.
if you want. I did not say my lake. Stop
Look,
putting
I'm
words in
not
my
here to
mouth.
argue with
Your
you
time.
about it.
You're right, you're not.
I'm saying that the nature of the lake is as it has been historically.
Correct.
And people know that when they get their place on the lake. That shouldn't change just because they decide they want to institute a use that hasn't historically been a use at Pleasant Lake. And if you don't like it, then there's plenty of other places, water bodies where you can go and drop in a boat and go barefooting or wakeboarding or, whatever you want at all kinds of hours of the day and night, but not Pleasant, because it wouldn't be pleasant.
Well, pleasant subjective.
And you wouldn't have that, if you allowed skiing hours from whatever, hour after sunup, hour before sundown, the lake would be rougher than hell, you wouldn't be barefooting anyway.
No, that's not true at all. Go to Corey Lake, and that proves that wrong right away. After 7:30, not true. Okay, so we've had discussion. Should we vote?
And what are we voting on?
My motion for the resolution, to send the resolution, which I have a copy of it for you, and you can make your changes if you want, but that'll push forward to
How
Fabius
many of
Township.
you would prefer to see a copy of that and read it yourself? And
I think there should be some
I-
advance notice.
There's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. Per Robert's rules, you gotta have a vote. It's been discussed, so we gotta have a vote.
so we can all vote no?
Sure.
You gotta have a vote, is what I'm saying. You gotta call for a vote.
So if we vote no, then it doesn't move forward?
What's that?
If we all vote no,
No,
does
if the
that?
majority votes no, yeah, it doesn't move forward. That's how the resolutions work. The
So
motions work.
although I'd like to make a motion to vote, how many, let's see.
The motion's already been made.
Yeah,
motion's
so
made.
how many are, all the yays, I guess, raised their hand that they would like this to go forward?
So I have 5 votes paid for in Jenny Drive. I have 6 proxy votes. That puts me to 11.
You don't have any
Yeah, you
proxies.
came in here to.
That's
Absolutely, I do
bullshit.
have proxy votes. They've been witnessed and signed. So
That's
They
bullshit.
voted
Yes, I
on
do.
this before it came to the board?
No,
I have 6 proxy votes. I have 11. It's in the bylaws. You keep saying no, you're incorrect. It's in your bylaws.
no.
So that's 11. Anybody else?
I have 1 vote and a 1 proxy vote.
That's 13. We can only have 1 vote per household. So 13 yeas. How many nays?
You wanna pick your 2 lots?
So they have to go.
How many
through the
nays?
township?
You have 2 lots.
You don't have to go through the township.
This is what we're doing.
This
We're
is the
getting-
resolution that
How
has
many
to
lots do you have?
We're not making the change.
verify.
Todd gave me a check for all his lots, guys, he set this up.
Absolutely.
He gave me a check this morning for $120 for his lot, so he set this up.
Well, you accusing me of setting something
And
up
he's never
is
paid
not
for
really
all
a
those lots in the
treasurer's
past.
place. And quite honestly, that
No,
goes
wait a
against the
minute.
bylaws.
He's giving you proxy votes for a lot.
Yeah.
No, I'm not giving you proxy votes for a lot. I'm giving you my votes because your bylaws say if you own in a subdivision that's contiguous to the lake, you can have a vote.
You can have, entertain the vote, that's,
Yeah.
No,
This is a
you
weirdo.
have to
No,
have
that's
riparian rights to be a
No, you
voter.
don't. Read your bylaws. Your bylaws say as long as you own property in a subdivision contiguous to. I have 13 yay votes.
So we'll just have
How
to
many
have
nays?
time for us to go out and get our proxy votes.
It's a
How many
risk.
13?
Yeah, this is,
I'm not gonna call you. I'm gonna have to go get you proxy votes. We're here at the meeting right now.
Can't we table it?
I can
got
call
So
it.
hang on a second, hang on
Not
a
even
second.
going
Hang
out
on a
there.
second.
Hang on, we got a comment.
Are you saying
yeah,
that,
come on,
so, and I'm not sure,
came in here.
so are you saying if I own property on the lake, any subdivision,
That's contiguous to the lake.
right, so on
That's-
Lighthouse Point, I would have 2 votes?
That's what the bylaw says. As long as you paid your dues to be an association member, yes.
Does it really say that? Have we ever,
Well, obviously someone's been doing.
no,
homework.
it doesn't.
You just did this to.
I feel very, very, no disrespect, but railroad,
Yeah. Absolutely.
This isn't how our board meetings have ran in the past, and
I
I
understand your feeling. I get
I
it,
don't
but I have
think
tried
it's-
being the nice
You
guy
know, we
for
are
2 years.
recorded.
it's fine, I mean, I know that you wanted
Nobody-
it that way for a long
90%
time.
of the residents
But-
on this lake
Please,
doesn't want,
she's
don't
speaking,
want
she's
what you
speaking.
want.
I'm listening to her.
It's, I just don't think it's right to,
I understand you're
I
not
think
right.
that we would be able to, if you want another survey and you wanna word it how you want it,
I want
but
my motion voted on.
I
I
feel
got
like
13 yeas.
can
You
you
know,
accept votes
I think it should be
beforehand?
Table
Before we
it.
even-
we're gonna table this.
No, you got, in order for Robert's rules, you gotta make a motion to table it and then it gets voted. If you're gonna follow Robert's rules, you gotta follow it to the T. So you can make a motion to table it and then we discuss it and then it gets voted on. And you have to have a majority of votes to table it.
Question on this, typically when these things come up, we, as road reps, have a vote. I mean, normally, this wouldn't even be per se open for everybody.
Exactly.
So I think, in my opinion, from looking at precedents, that the lake reps should vote on this. And then we go from forward, and I'm all in favor of you wording the survey you want, I'll represent it to all my, cause I want what's the majority want. I don't have a ski boat, but
Well, we've already voted the yeas and we're going back to open discussion. Is that what we're doing?
there's not been a call.
I have a question. I have 22 lots, okay, in my subdivision. Can I come in here and make a motion, have my wife second it, and just overwhelm the board?
As long as you pay your association dues, yeah.
Really?
For each lot, you can.
22 lots?
That's a good
22
question.
lots.
Jim.
So does that mean I get 22 votes?
You
Yes,
can,
not
if you
22
pay
people
your
here.
association
I
dues
can
for each
do
one,
it
you
now.
absolutely can. So we've done, followed the Roberts rules. I made my motion, it was seconded, we had open discussion, the yays were already counted at 13.
They
How about
haven't
the
been
nays?
counted.
They haven't
How
been
can they be
counted.
counted? We haven't even.
We haven't counted.
There wasn't
You're
even
right.
brought up in the motion.
I have the proxy votes
I
right
think
here.
we just tabled it.
He's saying we can't table it.
Well, he can say whatever he wants to say. He's saying all kinds of shit.
I'm following the Roberts rules. And your unprofessionalism to a resident is not appreciated, okay? You're the vice president, you're
I'm
supposed
not
to follow your bylaws.
This lake association put out a thorough survey,
You've already said
approximately
that.
90% of the people on the lake do not want what you're
You've
trying
already,
to
you've already
do
said that.
now.
But again,
You're
your
not gonna change
unprofessional
that.
attitude towards
We're
me
not gonna
personally
go
is
against
not appreciated
90% of the
as a
people
vice
on the
president.
lake.
Okay,
I'll
I'm gonna interject here, okay? I'm not taking Todd's side. He's just asking that we submit something to the township, doesn't mean it's gonna make it, any changes.
Correct.
The point is this, what he's asking to do is have us as an association represent to the township that our membership wants the change that he's trying to
And we
promote.
haven't given
They
them a
don't,
majority.
they 90% oppose it. That's what he's trying to do. And what I'm saying is, we can't go against what a thorough survey showed 90% of our people on our lake seriously oppose.
That number's not correct, by the way. That number isn't accurate.
You don't know that, Todd, because.
I do, I sat there and counted the votes in Jim's house. So, yeah, that number is not
How'd you
correct.
count the votes
So
when the
how
votes
did
came
you
to
count
us?
it? What was the percentage by your
Exactly.
count?
That's not what we're discussing right now.
89?
That's not what
90?
we're discussing right now. What
Well, it
we're
is
discussing is the fact
discussion.
that I have 13 yays.
You
We
don't
not
have
done
any
the nays
yays.
For the Roberts rules, you're not following Roberts rules right now.
So we would need 14 no's.
Okay,
14
wait a
minutes.
minute. The problem is, I don't agree with his thing about if you got a lot,
We
You
closed
get
the
a
open
vote.
discussion, we had a vote for yays, you gotta take the vote for nays. That's Robert's
We
rules.
didn't
If you're not gonna
close.
follow that, I don't know what we're doing here.
I think it'd be a terrible precedent.
But how,
And
Todd, how can we
if-
take a vote for
regardless of
nays when we don't
where you
have all
stand
the
on this
association members
voting.
here?
yeah, we don't have,
We can't-
the
can't-
How
membership
many
of
times
this
has there been an
association
association meeting where you voted
doesn't-
without all the association
didn't
meetings
know
there?
that you're asking us to go against the survey that was just taken where they overwhelmingly said, no, we don't want this change.
You've had association meetings before where you took the votes and passed stuff without all the association members there. Just
Not
because I
of
showed
this
to this
nature.
one, now you're upset because
We
you
went
can't
door
vote it in your
to,
way.
we as
So-
road reps went door to door and personally spoke to the people. And there
I think-
were some people that were non-committal. And we made a notation of our neighbors that were non-committal.
We've had open
yes or no.
discussion,
Excuse
Robert's
me?
rules say, you've done yay, you need to do nays.
I'm sorry?
You need to do nays, you need to take the vote, you started the vote already, and we've gone back to open discussion, which is against Robert's
Well,
rules.
wouldn't he
You
have? to-
sabotaged
wait,
the
you
meeting,
came
Todd.
in.
You sabotaged.
We
the
haven't
meeting.
voted, and your
She
votes
asked for
don't
the
count.
yays, I gave the yays.
You
That
didn't give
was
any
done.
yays.
Huh?
You're here, I saw 2 yays, 1, 2.
I have 5 votes, I paid for 5 lots.
I don't see 5 votes.
I paid for 5
I
lots.
see 1 person. This
I
is
don't care what you see,
people,
John.
not
I'm arguing with
lots.
you. Moving on, you're the president, take
This is
control.
people, not lots.
Yays and nays is what has to happen for Robert's.
Misrepresenting the votes.
I know
that
you
we
feel-
represent.
Exactly.
I know you
So-
feel
It's.
boom whacked and all that other stuff, but that's where we're at.
Wow,
That's
I
where
was
we're
not
at.
expecting this.
That's where we're at.
Then table it.
You gotta take the nays.
We're gonna table this.
You can't, you gotta do Robert's, if you're not gonna follow Robert's rules, that's gonna cause problems.
We are tabling it.
Nope.
Yeah, can I just jump in here real quick?
Yeah.
So we're looking at this, we're looking at the bylaws, under voting. Husbands and wives with 1 membership are entitled to 1 vote. So I think the spirit of that.
Well, and it
saying
says,
that,
persons
Is-
owning
is
property.
Teresa one of the 13?
What it-
I can't hear you, there's too much.
What it's
noise.
saying is husbands and wife, you get 1 vote,
Right.
Yeah,
okay? I think that's probably to prevent.
this.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Let's say Mr. Highfield wants to change the name of the lake.
That's exactly right, change the name of the lake. I got
That's
22
against-
votes, he could
that's
outvote
against-
everybody here.
That's against
No,
state law.
because I have to go to the ridiculous if we apply this law.
I asked this exact question 3 years ago at a lake association meeting, because I own 2 lots. I was told by the board, if you pay 2 fees, you can have 2 votes. That was established in a meeting, that's all I'm doing today.
Well, that's
Well,
not
that
true.
was-
That is
We have
true.
to find that
What
out.
meeting was that?
Yeah.
Jim Ponzetti was, the president at the
That's
time.
not true.
It is true, it's in the bylaws, read
Listen.
the bylaws.
Article 7, voting. Husbands and wives with 1 membership are entitled to only 1 vote.
That's correct.
Persons owning property jointly are entitled to only 1 vote. So
Correct.
you and your wife own some property. I don't care how many lots you get 1 vote.
Per
You don't get
membership.
votes per
Per
lot.
membership. Anyone who owns riparian rights on Pleasant Lake, who owns property on any plat or subdivision contiguous to Pleasant Lake, who owns deeded access to Pleasant Lake, is eligible for membership in the association. You're allowed 1 vote per membership. Yes, we can't both vote.
1 vote.
Per membership.
So you and your wife get 1 vote.
Per membership.
1 vote.
Per membership.
No, no.
Yes, per membership.
That's
Say
bullshit.
You can be a member if you.
Whoa, easy now.
You
Hey,
can't-
voting section doesn't
You
say
can't put in a membership
Yes.
for an empty lot. Mr. Highfield would have 22 memberships, which would be would you quit talking over me? I'm talking.
What vulgar did he say?
BS. It's, I can show it to you, Dave, but there needs to be something done about that. He can't cuss as a board member. He can't use all that.
Excuse me for using a scatological term. What you're saying is false, and it is a misrepresentation of the rules, okay?
You're in charge, ma'am?
You are entitled to 1 vote,
You're in charge?
not per lot, it's per family.
What are we doing?
We don't have
Tom,
those votes.
Can you take a vote before it's even on the board as a motion and second?
What
Can you
do you-
vote before it's even brought to them? As a motion and
I
a
think that we
second?
have a.
I mean,
we have
she's
an
got
attorney
votes,
on our
but we haven't
board that
even,
we need to
we're
take
taken
this
before
deal.
we even brought it up.
yeah, I mean, there's 2 board members that aren't even here, so,
I think we table it till we have more information.
If you're gonna table it, you gotta make a motion.
You have a motion on the floor, we're acknowledging that, but I don't think Lori.
I move that we table it. Is there a second?
Second, I'll second it.
I don't know.
I don't think there's clarity on how we handle it.
No.
That's, it goes against the spirit, cause like Jim Highfield, he could do whatever he wants, cause he's got the most lots of anybody.
Well, the problem is we already started the vote for my motion.
No, that isn't
So
the
you're
problem.
stopping it and going to another motion at that time? That
We're
again doesn't
stopping it
follow.
and we're gonna table
yes,
it.
we're gonna stop at table. I don't think it's fair what has just gone down.
Okay, so you're gonna stop my motion?
We're gonna table
Is
it.
that why this is being filmed?
What's that?
Are you gonna put this on Facebook?
Absolutely.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it right now, it all depends on what happens here, quite honestly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a threat, Todd.
sure it is.
How's that a threat? I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I have no idea. I gotta review it and see what was said. It's an emotional thing for
Well, I
everybody.
move we
I've got the
adjourn the
vice
meeting.
president cussing at me,
I
I
right?
wasn't
adjourn.
cussing at you.
I'm not
That
adjourning.
is,
I need to talk to you.
I've
Tom just
never
made
agreed-
a, Tom made a motion to have this table in 1 second.
Yeah.
Val,
Second.
this is gonna be tabled.
We gotta vote on that.
All right, we all voted. How many in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Aye.
You got, I want a roll call vote.
Any opposed?
They gotta be, Lake Association members, and opposed, we got 13. I got.
You don't
I got-
have-
No, they're
No,
not,
you
they're
don't
13 are
have
not voting on this.
We got 13 nays.
You don't have.
We got
it.
13 nays.
They can't be
I
voting on
request a
our
roll call
motion.
vote for the ones who voted yay,
How
make
could
sure
they
they're
vote on
paid
something
to
they don't
association
want on
members.
the motion?
I got 22 votes
I
to
move
table
we
it.
adjourn.
You haven't paid your association members.
Yes, I have, sir.
People.
Yes, he
22
has.
votes to table it.
Okay. If you're
Okay.
counting, he just counted 22 to table it.
What's 22 times 50? I'm not really good with math, but I don't
30,
think
you
you
mean?
paid that check yet.
Okay, but the point
22
is, I
times
think we need
30.
to table this.
What's
one.
that?
It's not 50, it's 30.
22 times 30. You guys are getting emotional about this, and I understand it, but all I want is it pushed forward and done the right way to the Fabius
So
Township
every
Board.
lot that you own, you gotta pay association.
660.
Correct, per the bylaws. And that's a membership, and then each lot gets a vote.
But it's, if there's not clarity, if a member membership.
I move to adjourn.
No, that's 22 paid memberships.
Yeah,
Well, we really can't adjourn yet until this is
yeah.
the table.
You can be a member.
We'll table it then.
Yeah.
We're gonna
That
take,
means-
so we've got a motion to table it, Val seconded it, and
I think you got enough nays here to.
Needs more discussion.
I asked
it
for a
just
roll
needs
call
more
vote of the
discussion.
yays,
I
to make
think
sure they're association
In all
members.
fairness, now that this is brought up, I wish that this would have been handled differently in a manner that you would come to me and say, this is what's gonna go on. I think it would have been perceived a lot better if we had known this ahead of time and we had the board members that Myra and Gary, maybe we could have gotten their proxies.
I do
We
have,
weren't.
John's proxy, by the way,
John.
which is Myra's husband, so I have Myra's proxy.
Okay, so what I'm just saying, it would have been more respectful, I think, and we would respect that more out of you to do that.
Well, it would have been respectful for the board at the time that I put in the survey, to do it the correct way.
But that was in the past, I don't know what Jim Pinzoti did for that.
Well, that's what's been brought up. I'm just
So-
saying, you're talking about respect, it's going both ways.
But
We're not
then-
gonna get into this. So here's what's happened. I made a motion, we did the yays votes, we did not do the nay votes, and you said you're gonna table it, correct?
We did
Is that-
not.
Is that what's going on?
We did not get yay votes.
We did the yay votes, because I will present
You
you with,
presented them, but I asked for the nays.
you didn't ask for the nays.
Didn't I ask for the nays?
You did not, but you already said you're tabling
You
it.
have not called for the vote yet.
No.
We didn't get that far on the table.
That's why we're tabling it.
Exactly.
Right.
And
We're not fully represented.
Todd, I
Not
just
fully
don't.
represented,
don't
and
feel
I
like
have
we are.
serious questions about his supposed count, which I believe violates the bylaws, of, a representation.
Well, your implication is insulting, by the way.
So-
and not really pursuant to a vice president of the board, so you can say what you want, but you're gonna have to be held accountable. to
Well,
that.
you may be insulted, but I believe it's the truth.
Well,
So,
then we agree to disagree, right? Moving on. So where are we going?
so we
Where are we
haven't
going?
agreed to disagree, I think. You're-
I'd like to table it because, we all could have proxy votes, right? I could go get
You
proxy
could if you
votes.
would've gotten them.
But I didn't know this was coming up. Why didn't you
Yeah.
approach us and let us know about this? If it's so,
What do you mean? You want me to call you and tell you every time I'm thinking about doing something? Not
To
doing that.
have something that's as momentous as this, when we know that the Lake Association has already gone to the trouble and expense of having a major vote on it that overwhelmingly opposed the action, yes, it needs to be given to the board
Well,
in
number one,
advance
the
because it
expense
should
you're
be
talking about is
noticed
not
out.
$7,500. You were
no, it
accurate on
wasn't.
that.
And he acknowledged that. He was talking about
Sorry.
something else. Yeah.
So here's what we were saying. I made a motion, we did the yays, we had 13 yays, we
You
didn't
don't
do
have
yays,
13 yays.
and you said you're gonna table it. You took a vote for the table, you didn't take account on that, and you didn't do a roll call vote for the nays. I have 13, yays for tabling it, and I have 13 nays that are here, and we're just gonna table it, is what you're saying. Is that what's going on?
Those
Is that
are
an accurate
13
depiction of
nays.
what's going on?
Those are not 13 nays.
They are
Yes.
13 nays.
What did they vote on, your proxy votes? What were they, how does it?
They're voting on tabling it right now. They didn't do the nays for my
No,
All in
I know.
favor
I
of,
mean, what have
we're
you
gonna
got
do a
written
roll
up here?
call to all those in favor of tabling this. You can put my name down. Joanne raised her hand. All those raise your hand so Teresa can
Table.
table in this. We're tabling this. If you wanna table it,
We're going down.
It's for the road reps.
okay, so you have Dan Ruggles, Val Heffernan. Keep your hands up. Christy, Billy, Mark, Steve, Jim Highfield. You guys don't wanna table it?
I thought you said he had to be road reps.
No.
No.
Association member.
So if you want this tabled until the next meeting, so you have,
I believe Teresa is a member, and I'm not.
okay,
Oh,
Well, then,
so we got 13.
John,
Yeah, there you
Tom,
go.
March,
So you have to have a majority vote to table.
basically, everybody except Todd
Todd,
and his friend.
She has multiple lots, if Mr. Highfield has multiple lots,
Yeah, but they're not all.
Then they
like
can-
you said.
I've got
would
multiple
override.
lots.
He's got
So do
multiple
How
lots.
many memberships did you pay, John?
I haven't cashed a check.
It doesn't
Mr.
make any
Highfield.
difference.
Doesn't matter.
You get
It
one
does
vote
too.
per family,
No,
not
that's
per
not
lot.
For payment.
That's not true,
It-
that's not true.
this
Not true at all.
is going where I
This
don't
is
want it to
why
go.
We
And
need to research it.
Yes. Yeah,
It is.
precisely.
You're bribing me, Mr. Hayfree, is what I feel like, you're bribing the board.
Okay, your comment's not appreciated.
Well, thank you, yours haven't been
So
appreciated.
it's the treasurer and vice president that has lashed out at me
That's fine,
personally.
that's fine, record it, go ahead, you've been over talking everybody for the
So,
last 30 minutes.
so, how many do we have? How many people have tabled this?
Okay, 1, 2,
So there's
14.
15,
No, he's not in the membership, he said.
well, he said his wife is, that's one vote per couple.
But she's not here, she's his wife, are you guys married?
It's none of your business.
It's one vote per couple, and he's here.
So Joanne, when did Todd pay his,
This morning.
all right, let me go get my checkbook.
No,
I will cover.
you can't
I'll
do
cover
that.
Jim
We've got a vote on the
I'll cover
table.
Marks, I'll cover whatever.
Doesn't matter.
This is
We got
bullshit.
we got a vote on the table.
This is crazy.
So what we have is we've got a motion on the table, but now they're trying to take on more memberships to sabotage the vote.
Sabotage the vote, Todd. What if Jim Highfield wants to change the name of the lake, man?
Can't do it.
What do you mean he can't do it?
I'm not gonna get into that, but you can't do that for the state.
This is
You can't-
nuts,
You can't
man.
decide.
You
That's
handled
not,
this wrong. This
that's
is
not
bad.
ours.
Three
That's
lots.
not ours.
Okay, so there's
This is
30.
bogus. This is
As you can see, there's people paying their membership votes, their membership dues after a vote has been cast. And they're trying to sabotage it.
So John Barnes is 3 votes.
I mean, this is opening up Pandora's box.
In the bylaws.
As you're doing it, Teresa.
You
I
can't.
first of all, let me just say, I disagree with his interpretation, Mr. Haefley's interpretation of the bylaws. I think it's misrepresenting the clear spirit of the bylaws, which is
Steve, did you
one
say
vote
you're
per
making a
family.
motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, I second. Motion adjourned to.
So we did not have a full vote on my motion, just to let you know. They have elected to motion to adjourn the meeting at that time.
Yes.
Hey, Steve, can we get the board meeting over?
Yes. Oh, my son-in-law is down here now, I wasn't in Russia earlier.
And Billy, do you guys have any
This all is
neighbors
fun.
that you need, or Christie, you guys have any?
Hey, Steve. Steve.
Hey, the steps in Glen